with news and comments about what's happening in Japan. This is the jPod.
Welcome to the jPod, coming to you from Tokyo and being brought to you by Domino's Pizza Japan. Domino's, where you can order your pizza from their all-English website. Check the Japan Today website for Domino's all-new Star Wars campaign. Here we go once again with the jPod. By the way, portions of this podcast will be heard on 76.1 Inter FM. Once again, we have a very lively panel of guests all gathered here in the Tokyo American Club in the Decanter Steakhouse, which, for your information, is their only restaurant open to the public. Right now, let's go around the table real quick and have our panelists introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about what they're going to be doing. Let's start with you, sir.
I'm Don Morton, the universally loved film critic from Metropolis magazine. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of movies you want to see and a couple that you probably don't want to see. And I'm also a lifetime fan of the guy sitting next to me, Mr. Caleb James.
Hey, folks, this is Caleb James, nominally tolerated, but, I make do. A great musician, somewhat, and I will let you know what's going on in town and around the Tokyo
humble.
area.
You forgot humble? Yeah, humble. Humble, great musician.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And I'm Ian Gibb, a member of the Tokyo Comedy Store, performing every month, the last Friday of every month, at the Crocodile in Shibuya, and feeling quite honored to be in this esteemed group of people.
People? Not gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen? People.
Gentlemen.
Okay, people is okay. Next, sir.
Well, speaking of esteemed, and one thing that I am not, hi, John Matthews here. I occasionally do work with a radio station you may have heard of called NPR. Here with my partner in crime, Chris. Freudian slip there,
That's
gentlemen.
Okay. That's okay.
Yes.
It sounded like pissed.
Piss Creatures.
Okay.
No, we backed it up.
There's no rewind button here. Please, one more time.
Piss Creepos?
One more time.
Piss Creepos?
Go for it.
So speaking of esteemed, and one thing that we are lacking, no, just kidding. I'm going to back that up. Sorry. I want to play off that so bad. Anyway, I'm John Matthews. You may have heard of a little radio station I do some work with called NPR. I and my partner in crime, Chris Petros here, we're going to be talking about the news and stories of this week, giving a little bit of analysis, commentary, and the like.
And John, those news topics we'll be talking about: the town of Oi in Fukui has approved the restart of 2 nuclear reactors. Japan is looking for bloggers for a cyber charm tourism offensive. Indonesia has yanked Lady Gaga's concert, saying her antics will corrupt the youth, so she may have to stay in Tokyo. She's still here at the moment.
Not entirely untrue.
Facebook is in the news this week with its long-awaited IPO. JAL, 2 years after declaring bankruptcy, has made a stunning turnaround. It'll be interesting to see which of our guests fly on JAL. Tokyo Disney Resort eases rules on same-sex marriage. Before, the same-sex couples had to actually dress as man and woman. They couldn't. And researchers say that Japan will be extinct in 1,000 years. We're running out of Japanese people. And finally, Triumph, the underwear maker, has a bra for women with a built-in ice pack, wind chimes, and a sprig of mint, meant to keep them cool for the summer.
Cue technology
so we'll
jokes
be
and
looking
Triumph
forward to hearing
technology.
everyone talk about those topics.
And we will get into those topics in just a few minutes. But right now, may I introduce to you our very special guest? Hold on here, people. I want to introduce to you our very special guest this week. He's the very savvy entrepreneur businessman who brought Domino's Pizza to Japan. He sold it. And then he has just recently relaunched Wendy's in Harajuku. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest, Mr. Ernie Higa.
Well, thank you for that great introduction. Yes, I'm Ernie Higa, and I'm the CEO of Higa Industries. And just recently, as was mentioned, I started a joint venture with Wendy's, and I hope to bring it back, and I hope all of you will enjoy our hamburgers.
What's your signature burger there right now?
Well, that's an interesting question. Our best-selling burger is actually the foie gras hamburger. And, that was something that they don't have in the States, obviously. But we thought that if we're going to bring Wendy's back to Japan, we'd like to do something different and something that would really have a lot of impact. And so when I told Wendy's in America that I'd like to do foie gras hamburger, they first of all said I was crazy. And but anyway, I convinced them that we had to do things different and be a little bit more upscale. And so we introduced it, and it's as I said, it's our number one seller. But the number two is our Wendy's burger.
We'll be back to talk with you more about that in more detail in just a few minutes. But first, this important message.
Domino's Pizza Japan is celebrating the re-release of Star Wars in the country. Star Wars in the country. If you order a pizza from the Star Wars set menu before June 17th, you will receive a limited edition lightsaber fork or spoon together with a special Star Wars design box. Lightsaber fork or spoon. Lightsaber fork or spoon together with a special Star Wars design box. Go check out the offer and see what else they have going on the English language website at www.dominos.co.jp/ENG. You can also find links via Japan Today.
With news and comments about what's happening in Japan. What's happening in Japan? What's happening in Japan? This is the jPod. This is the jPod.
All right, we're back with our panel and the editor-in-chief of the Japan Today website, Chris Petros. Let's go through some of the top stories. Bring us up to date once again, and let's discuss some of these stories.
Well, again, to avert a possible power shortage, the local assembly in Oi in Fukui Prefecture has okayed the startup of 2 nuclear reactors. But many hurdles remain, don't they, John?
Indeed. This actually is the first time that Japan or any local government is approving the restart of a reactor. Now, they're all offline, as you may know, since Cinco de Mayo, Children's Day, whichever you'd like to say. So the thing is that this could be a watershed moment. We could see the beginning of more local communities starting to turn around and say, look, we kind of need this power for the summertime. I'm not really sure if it's going to happen or not, but this could be a watershed moment.
Isn't it true, though, that the power company's been paying those people in those communities for decades and buying them community centers and improving their standard of living incredibly? So they're kind of hooked on approving the power stations.
Man is exactly right, actually. A lot of cities were built around the idea that a nuclear power plant was going to be nearby. I mean, there have been festivals, there have been schools, there have been all kinds of things. These plants are obligated to build around those, the power companies, rather, are obligated to build around those plants. So those communities owe something to those plants, but they're realizing, I think, or they did realize at least, that they don't owe them their lives.
Ernie, can I ask you, does Japan need nuclear power?
Well, that's a difficult question, but certainly I think that in the immediate future, there is a necessity for nuclear power in the mix. I think long term, of course, like everybody else, there's a concern, and they should try to go to alternative energy sources. Having said that, a lot of the anti-nuclear movement was done during the wintertime when weather was not so hot. But as we go into the summertime, certainly just, I think that opinion will change as we start to feel the heat, so to speak, and everyone will personally want to figure out how to get their air conditioning moving.
And will you be doing anything at Wendy's to conserve energy?
Well, we've just started with our one store, and so it's not like we will have a major impact from an energy standpoint. But having said that, in developing our store expansion, we're actually looking at lower energy kitchens, and I'm in talks with Wendy's America on that aspect. Because I believe that is a major issue going forward.
So would you suggest that customers perhaps order burgers that are more rare?
No, I don't think we have to take it to that level.
Okay.
There's only one store in Japan. They're pretty rare. They're rare enough.
All right. Chris, let's get to another story. What else do you have?
Okay, Japan is looking for bloggers overseas to say nice things in cyberspace about Japan to get tourists to come.
Oh, remember the 10,000 guys? Remember the 10,000
happened to that?
free?
They were going to give away 10,000 free trips to bloggers who said good things, right?
Doomed the second it began.
What happened? I remember that, yeah, just after the thing, right?
What was wrong?
The
big thing.
Why doomed,
That kind of thing that messed things up around here for a while.
Why was the plan doomed?
The plan was doomed because basically the Japanese, the Ministry of Tourism basically stepped out of line and said, hey, we need to bring in so many people and bring in this great press for Japan. First of all, too early. Second of all, they could not. There was no way that the central government and the cabinet was going to approve that kind of budget. We're talking about a ton of cash here, where it's sort of irresponsible to spend that kind of money on tourists coming to Japan as opposed to direct investment in revitalizing the Tokyo economy in terms of other ways besides paying for other folks' plane tickets.
So how realistic is this new plan, Chris?
Well, they've actually invited someone who was responsible for the Arab Spring from Egypt, I think it was. And also
was somebody from the Muslim Brotherhood, I think it was.
Yeah, Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And also a Chinese blogger, so...
All right.
They're really tapping the sort of a bit of a diverse thing there, but and I like the idea. I think it's cool going for the grassroots, going for the heart of things instead of going for mainstream media. You can get that anywhere. You don't have to pay for that either. But I don't know. It could work, but in this case,
You don't think so?
No.
All right.
No.
Next story, Chris.
Yes, well, 52,000 fans of Lady Gaga in Indonesia bought their tickets to her concert, but the concert has been pulled because the Muslim authorities fear that she will corrupt the youth with her onstage antics. Now, Lady Gaga is currently in Japan. She was at Tokyo Skytree last night, so she may be here a bit longer. She had 3 concerts last week in Tokyo. I don't think any Japanese youth were corrupted.
How many members of our panel were corrupted? Say aye.
Uh,
How about you, Mr. Higo? Were you corrupted, or have you been corrupted by Lady Gaga?
I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Do you want to be?
That's the question. Actually, you used to be a musician, right?
Yeah, that's right, actually. And, well, you know, all musicians are somewhat corrupted, I guess. But I used to be in a rock band, although I realized early on that that wasn't my career.
And what was the name of your rock band?
Well, I was in several different rock bands with several different names, but there was a name that was given to one of my bands by my music teacher. He called us the Rude Awakening, and so I think that put an end to my career.
Caleb, how is that as the name for a band?
It's a great name for a band.
Rude Awakenings, yeah.
Kicks doors open. I like that kind of thing.
How would they be dressed on stage?
Would they be dressed with a name like
Brutally, I should think.
Very brutally.
Well, really quick
An
about
alarm clock around their necks, maybe.
with that works.
A loin
working
cloth around their necks?
Alarm clock.
Alarm clocks. I thought you said a loin cloth around their
You've
necks.
got to get Ben-Hur off of your mind, Tom.
You're treading alarm clock around the neck. You're treading very close to the area of what's that guy's name?
I was going to mention about Lady Gaga. Actually, she's that's her thing, is being on the edge and over the edge, and I don't think it's. I don't know. Maybe it's a publicity type of thing that they would ban her there, because who did they think they were bringing over?
But Caleb, this goes on in other, like Malaysia has banned people like Beyonce, haven't they? And so you wonder what these musicians are thinking sometimes when they go ahead and organize these concerts.
I know what they're thinking. They're thinking cash.
What did the concert promoter do with the ticket money? I mean, he sold tickets to this concert,
They
right?
have to refund them. All 52,000.
52,000. Wow. He's got a big job coming up. All right, we're going to pause right here. Then we'll be back with some of the more offbeat stories happening in the news and on the Japan Today website after these messages.
Coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, this is the jPod.
Just a brief reminder that coming up in a few minutes, your chance to win a Wendy's gift certificate. Your chance to win a Wendy's gift certificate. Good for any burger at the brand new Wendy's in Omotesando. All you'll need to know is the key word. All you'll need to know is the key word. And we'll announce the key word in just a few moments.
You're listening to the jPod, a service of the Japan Today website.
Subscribe through iTunes and get it for free.
A service of the Japan Today website.
The jPod.
We're back, coming to you from the Decanter Steakhouse in the Tokyo American Club. Chris Petros, editor-in-chief of the Japan Today website. You have some of the offbeat stories in the news?
Yes, Kong. Tokyo Disney Resort has announced that they're easing rules on same-sex marriages. This follows on the heels of Obama's announcement in the US.
Endorsing same-sex
fact,
marriages.
What happens now is they will allow same-sex couples to get married in front of the Cinderella Castle. Before, same-sex couples had to dress as a man and a woman. So if you had 2 lesbians, one had to actually dress as a man. I don't know how that works with the 2 men getting married, but
Who thinks these things up?
Which in itself, though, it was slightly progressive, that they were allowing, I suppose, the transvestite wedding first before non-transvestite same-sex marriage.
Yeah, he's on into same-sex by starting. Let's start with the tranny the tranny nuptials.
And I think, Donald Duck is still running around without pants on anyway.
It did that, right? I've always had a problem with that. Yeah, Daisy Duck, on the other hand, now that's some pretty hot. I'm sorry, I'm going off the subject.
Let's move it over to Wendy. Is Wendy married?
Oh, what a segue.
Well, actually, there is a Wendy. She's the daughter of the founder of Wendy's in the United States.
So you have like a mannequin or a mascot in front of the store?
Oh no, not here in Japan. I was just talking about the real Wendy's. In Japan, we did have a Wendy's that we chose through a contest in the beginning for our opening. But that was just through that contest. We sometimes now have our staff dress up as Wendy's. We have her go around
the guys as well.
Center.
The guys as well. dressing up as Wendy.
Freckles, ponytails.
We haven't gotten that progressive yet. We're working on it.
I think Wendy is married to Pippi Longstocking or something. The lesbian union,
But you do have a mascot, like a Wendy statue in front of the store?
Oh, no, not a statue.
No?
Just our
You're thinking
crew
of,
put it on. But that's a good idea.
The Colonel, I think.
Not everyone is KFC.
You're thinking the other guys, the Colonel. Yeah.
Okay.
How's this for an idea? Male staff dresses up like Wendy's, and then you guys can do tranny weddings in front of the store.
There you go. A new
We
business
want our sales
idea.
to go up, not down, actually.
All right, let's move on. Chris Petros, what's another one of the
a
offbeat
researcher from
stories in the
Tohoku
news?
University says that in 1,000 years' time, we'll run out of Japanese. There'll be no more Japanese because of the declining birth rate.
Well, there won't be any children in 1,000 years, and approximately 30 or 40 years after that, we'll have no people at all. The thing is it's a percentage decline. I think it is. It's a population clock. I mean, it's incredible. This is one of the things that were research grant money gone wild with all less of the topless flashing and all more of the stuff that we're never going to be concerned about in 1,000 years. So, really.
But isn't the sun supposed to explode before that?
I'd rather
Kong,
not think
you're
about
about
that, Kong. I'd
You're
rather
about
not think
4 orders
about
of
it.
magnitude off, just so you know.
If you weren't worried about 1,000 years from now, it's like, hey, why sweat? We're all going to be
Maybe you're
Sun will
thinking of the
explode.
solar eclipse coming.
That's right. And the solar
next
eclipse, actually the annular eclipse will be happening this coming Monday, starting at about 7:30 in the morning. Actually, it starts at about 6:30, right?
Peaks at 7:34.
7:34. You know that because it's all over NHK,
I'm a
right?
science geek.
And
You
the
are?
forecast is for cloudy that day, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Get out, really?
Overcast, yes.
Well, if the forecast now is for cloudy,
that Mahalati tape
then we're in
always-
good shape because it'll be bright sunny.
And of course, our friends over at the Park Hyatt are planning a big
A
event.
big breakfast,
A
yes.
big breakfast.
At the New York Bar and Grill, opening for the first time ever for breakfast, just to watch that.
Yeah, that should be quite an event. All right, let's move on to one of the
Yes.
next stories.
One more thing we should mention, that the underwear maker Triumph has come out with a gimmicky bra for the summer. It has built-in ice packs, wind chimes, and a sprig of mint, designed to keep the ladies cool.
Wait.
Nothing for the men.
Extremely uncomfortable.
The men on Japan Today have been saying,
Wait,
how
can I
about
start
some
with this?
underpants for
Triumph,
the
the
guys?
underwear maker?
What was the name of the company again? Triumph, did you say?
Or they call it Triumph in Japanese, no? Triumph in Japanese, yes.
Really?
And what was the
I like
inspiration
Triumph.
for this?
The inspiration, well,
Triumph is better.
we have to. The girls have to keep cool, and I don't think I'll say any more than that.
I get
see.
the ice packs and the sprig of mint, but wind chimes?
Yeah, what's with the wind chimes?
How does it work underneath clothing?
Didn't we get a sample here next week?
We did have a photo on Japan Today, so we hope readers will go there and have a look at it.
Oh, you do have a sample.
A photo, not a,
A photo.
sample.
Okay. Is it a moving photo? Is it a video?
No,
or
it's
is it
just
just
a very
picture?
large photo that's had a lot of clicks on it.
Didn't this company start making motorcycles first? Start off with
All right.
Different Triumph?
All right.
Because now I was hoping for they'd have something called like the fastest Indian. The next one that comes out. No?
Chris, do you have any more stories you want to bring us up on some of the offbeat news? Any offbeat
We'll talk one a
stories?
bit later. It's a comment on a story about Japanese beer heads are causing Westerners to go ape. They just cannot stand the size of the head on Japanese beers. It's causing a big
I
debate
think
on
it's a
Japan
valid
today.
complaint.
Aye.
What do you mean by Westerners? I mean, there's Americans or British. They're completely far apart on beer heads.
And different reactions too.
What do you think about the Japanese beers then? Are you satisfied when they pour you a beer?
I don't drink in the least, and probably because they put, the head is too damn big.
Okay. All right, Mr. Higa?
I'm not a beer drinker, so I can't really comment. But looking at it, I think, a lot of froth looks pretty good to me.
Looks good or tastes good?
I don't drink it, so I don't know.
We want to find out what's happening, what you do offer at Wendy's, what you have to drink there. We know that Burger King here offers alcohol in their shops, and
They
we
do?
want to find
I didn't
out.
know
Yeah,
that.
that's true. We want to find out what you have on your
On the way back
menu
to the
at
station.
Wendy's. But first, this important message.
Hi, I'm Peter Wilson, President and CEO of G Plus Media, parent company of both the Japan Today website and our new jPod. With this jPod project, we've teamed up with broadcast veteran Kamasami Kong and his team of Japan-based plugged-in reporters, entertainers, and commenters to offer you a new and entertaining way to enjoy our Japan Today experience. Every week, Kong and his team will scour through the many comments written by you, our visitors, to find and share some of the more interesting and outrageous comments. Of course, as with every other aspect of Japan Today, we welcome and encourage your comments, criticisms, ideas, and suggestions with what will be our ever-evolving podcast. At Japan Today, we realize that you can read the news anywhere, but it's your no-holds-barred comments that make Our Japan Today the most read and viewed English language news website in Japan. So thank you very much for visiting Japan Today, and enjoy the jPod.
We're back with our very special guest, and while we were away, Caleb James came up with a question. Caleb, you wanted to ask something to Mr. Higa about Wendy?
Well, for a long time I always wondered who the little girl with the pigtails and the red hair and the freckles, and I thought, first off, pretty hot.
What?
Second, was she real? And it turns out, yeah, right? She's the daughter or the niece?
Yeah, she's the daughter of the founder of Wendy's, Dave Thomas. And I wish you hadn't asked that question, but she has grown up since then. She's no longer as young and as cute. She doesn't have the pigtails anymore.
Aww.
But she's a very nice person, and she's actually now a franchisee of Wendy's in the United States.
Amazing. I got to tell you, though, Wendy's you guys had the best food.
You mean in Japan, right?
In Japan, yeah, you guys had the best.
Entirely.
You beat, your competitors, your
McDonald's and Burger King. You beat them soundly.
I've heard of them, yes.
Now,
what was the best?
What happened to Wendy's before? We had Wendy's for a long time, and then they disappeared. What happened?
Well, Wendy's was actually around in Japan for 30 years.
Right.
So it has a great history here, and actually had a very good customer fan base. This is, of course, before I got involved. But what happened is a group called Zensho, which is one of the largest restaurant groups in Japan, had bought the Wendy's chain from Dai when they had their financial problems. And they continued with it, and they had a little less than 100 stores. But they had so many other brands, their own brands. One of them, called Skia, is really growing. And so they put all of their effort into their other brands. On the other hand, from Wendy's perspective, given the potential size of the Japanese market, they wanted to open more stores. And they thought that the potential for Japan was more than 100. And so basically it was different objectives, and they finally decided to dissolve the licensing agreement which they had.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened 2 years ago.
And that's why we lost all the Wendy's burgers here at that particular time.
That's right.
And my favorite one in Azabu Juban there.
Yeah. The interesting thing, though, is that when they closed all the stores, because, just like yourself, so many people loved the Wendy's,
right.
They all lined up. And they had, it was even on the TV programs, these huge lines at all the stores. It was almost like a kind of a farewell to Wendy's. And at that time, Wendy's America said they will come back to Japan. Mm-hmm. And since that time, for the last several years, 2 years, that they were not in Japan, there was a lot of buzz on the social media network like Mixi and Twitter about when they'll come back. And so when I got involved, I looked at that and I saw so much positive feedback. I was surprised because I didn't know that much about Wendy's, to be honest with you. And when I started to look into possibly tying up with them, I checked out all the social media network. And the biggest issue was when are they going to come back, and that they missed the chili fries, or they missed the chili itself, or the hamburger and so on. So that kind of made me feel like I should go ahead and do that. But anyway, that was the background on why they pulled out.
And what was it that you did that was unique to win the franchise away from all your other competitors?
Well, okay. That's an interesting question. So I brought Domino's Pizza to Japan, and I established it, and I was able to successfully expand it throughout Japan.
By the way, we should mention right here that Domino's is sponsoring this podcast.
Yes, and I'm glad that they are.
Thank you.
And part of the key to being able to make Domino's part of the Japanese diet, if you will, was the simple concept of thinking global and act local, which is what I told Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's. I said, Domino's is certainly a large company and they're going global, but you also have to think global but act local and localize the product. And we went back and forth on this thing, but he finally agreed to my concept. And adapting Domino's to the Japanese culture, the Japanese consumer, the Japanese taste was critical for Domino's to succeed in this market. So how do you localize it? And basically the key
tuna.
Yeah, that's what I did for Domino's. Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, I realized in my prior life with Domino's that the consumer here in Japan is different from the consumer in the United States.
Please tell us how.
Okay. First of all, in terms of customer satisfaction, in the United States, if you want to increase customer satisfaction in the food industry, you supersize it. So they go for quantity.
Yeah.
In Japan, supersize is not a value added. It's really increasing quality. So it's quality over quantity as one key. And the other thing...
So are you saying supersizing doesn't work here?
No, it doesn't. It's not. Actually, you have to work on the quality aspects more than quantity.
Okay. May I interject? Actually,
sure.
The Mega Mac was really big for a little while here, as far as I know, and the Teriyaki Mega Mac and all that. Do you have any numbers on how popular that was versus a regular product? I know it's McDonald's is not exactly your chain, but
in that sense, it was not just the size; they really enhanced the quality, and so. They don't
just throw buns and meat at you.
Yeah,
for
example, they don't just make more French fries or give you a bigger drink of Coke, for example. Mm-hmm. The quality aspect is really very important. Mm-hmm. And the second difference is, in the U.S. they have the saying that the customer's king. Mm-hmm. Of course, sometimes I really doubt that, but in Japan, as you know,
why would you doubt that? Because
I just came back from New York the other week, and I'll tell you, I didn't feel like a king, although I was a customer. But anyway.
In New York?
In New York.
Okay. Caleb's hometown.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay, I'll take that back. But in Japan, as you know, the saying is "Okyakusama wa kami-sama," which means the customer is God.
Right.
And God is certainly higher than king. And that is the perception of customer service here in Japan. And that's why there's a high level of customer service throughout Japan. And the third aspect, though, is very difficult in the fast food business. The fast food business basically keep it simple, which means you want a simple menu. But the Japanese consumer is what they call akipoi. In other words, they get tired very easily of the same thing. So you have to have a lot of variety. And if you look at, for example, the Coca-Cola machine, here it's more than just Coke, as you know.
Sure.
It's got canned coffee, tea, it's got, hundreds of different products. And that is a reflection of the consumer's demand here for variety. And so taking that into consideration, when I was bringing Wendy's back, I said, okay, we have to up the quality. We have to enhance our customer service, and we have to provide variety.
And keep it simple.
And try to keep it simple.
As you said. Okay.
Right. Otherwise, our operations fall apart. And that's, of course, the push and pull of adapting this concept for Japan. But to enhance quality, I thought that how do you say, we have a higher quality? That would really kind of, if you will, hit the consumer between the eyes. And that's where I came up with the Japan Premium line, which is a hamburger line that was just developed for Japan, which included the foie gras hamburger or the avocado wasabi hamburger and the truffles porcini mushroom chicken sandwich, for example.
I think you're supposed to say all of those just a little slower.
Okay.
Because when you're describing food like that,
right.
people like to hear it kind of roll off. But that's okay. Have you guys tried any of those burgers?
I'm a simple man. I like something, just the burger, the fries.
Have you tried the foie gras burger yet?
No, I wouldn't.
I have to agree
and we have something just for you then. We do have the Wendy's burger, which is...
the Wendy's burger. I had no problem with it. You guys had the best stuff, man.
It was fantastic. The thing is, avocado, though, anything with avocado, I'll go for. I'll go with anything for avocado. Foie gras, the whole thing with the fishing and et cetera. I've seen the celebrations where they have the big fire boats and everything and the birds and fishing and all that. It's cool. It's cool, but you go... Yeah, it does. Come on. No, that's the... I thought that was the Cormorant fishing.
No, that's a different thing.
Well then, scratch the last 2 minutes.
That sounds good.
My apologies, but foie gras is still kind of avocado though.
So what else do you have on your menu, Mr. Higo?
Well, so we have this Japan Premium line, which is very on the high end of things.
And this is very unique, only here in Japan.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we have the core products from the United States, which is the Wendy's burger, which Caleb would like. And their chicken sandwiches and their shrimp sandwiches. And then we have a full line of salads, which you won't get in most fast food chains. And we have, all kinds of salad meals, if you will. They call it salad sensations. and then some desserts.
All right. It sounds like Wendy's should be a wonderful experience for our listeners here in Japan.
Well,
or a very unique experience.
Yes.
Now,
well, yes.
we have more questions, but we're going to have to pause right here for just a moment. I know Don Morton, our film critic, has another question. He's perched and ready to ask, but we'll pause right here, then we'll be right back.
I perch very well.
Let me get a branch down here.
Domino's Pizza Japan has a special 2-for-1. Buy one, get one free offer available only on Japan Today and Domino's Pizza Japan's English website. Domino's uses only the finest and freshest ingredients, so you'll be assured of a delicious pizza or your money back. Check out Domino's new interactive website in English. You can even specify your delivery time. No special coupons or voucher codes. Just go to Domino's Japan or Japan Today for more info.
With news and comments about what's happening in Japan. What's happening in Japan? What's happening in Japan? This is the jPod. The jPod. The jPod.
We're back. Our film critic, Don Morton, is perched with a question, but Caleb, you had a question or a comment first?
Yes. I got to tell you, it was a sad day when you guys left, and I remember it distinctly. I lived in Kamakura, and you guys had wonderful outlets out there right near the station, another one on Ichisanyon, another one that was out near Chigasaki, and I was in all those places the night before you split. And I saw all of them. I went to one, and I saw them as I passed. We drove by. The next day, they were all gone. And I thought, what the hell? I mean, it was like, did you...
Alternate universe.
Yeah, it really was. Because all the locations had failed. And I went out to Yokohama, where my favorite one was, in Kanai. I'm telling you, I was a Wendy's fan. And I told everybody, what happened to the Wendy's?
Well, first of all, I love you, Caleb. That's a great comment. Although I wasn't part of the guys that pulled out, so I'm bringing them back. So
will you be expanding to other locations?
Yes,
you only have one store right now.
Right.
So.
We just opened the first one, and as you know, with a new bent and a new concept, and we're kind of tweaking it right now. But having said that, we are in negotiations to open our second location. And it might be still premature to say it, but I think we're looking at a location in Roppongi.
Oh, can you tell us about where in Roppongi?
No, not really. Okay. But we're working on it.
A lot of competition there, but
that's right.
Yeah, the Wendy's would certainly be welcome in that area.
Well,
I'm
we
sure.
want to see if we can go up against the best in the industry.
All right, Don Morton, you had a question for Mr. Higa?
There was a controversial revelation in the States last month about pink slime, a filler in hamburger patties. How much pink slime is in your patties, Ernie?
Well, it's 0, and this is because this is part of the Wendy's quality assurance and their quality control programs, but they never had that in their product. And actually, when that issue came out in the United States, Wendy's took a proactive stance to show that they didn't use any of that. And because their phrase is quality is our recipe, and they've really tried to stick to that. And although it's not very well known, they actually use a very high quality beef to begin with. But no pink slime, no.
Chris Petros put a mention on the Japan Today website that you were going to join us here in the jPod today, and many of our readers, many of our visitors put questions out there for you to answer. So, Chris, you have some of the questions?
Yes, Ernie, we'll go through some of these and see if we can go through them quickly. Here's one. Will there ever be a chocolate mint milkshake?
I love chocolate mint. I haven't thought about it, but I'll work on it.
Please say yes.
Okay, why is it so hard to make a decent burger bun?
Okay, that's a difficult question because what is a decent burger bun? And what we have found out, again, is there's some difference in the consumer in the U.S. and in Japan in terms of buns and in terms of bread. To describe it in simple terms, in the U.S., pasa, more of a dried bread, is actually preferred in Japan. A more moist, what they call mochi-mochi-kan, kind of more of a chewy bun is preferred. And so in our adaptation, we had to think about that. But accordingly, it's the formalization of these different buns is quite difficult.
And what kind of buns do you have at Wendy's?
So we've come up with a formula that we think works for the Japanese consumer, but is, of course, what we believe is a high-quality bun.
Mochi bun?
Closer to that, yes.
Okay. Chris, another question from one of our readers?
Do you have any plans to hire any foreigners to work at Wendy's?
Yes, in terms of the, our iron practices. We're open, of course. They have to speak Japanese to deal with our Japanese customers, but we also have a lot of foreign gaijin customers, and obviously it'd be great to have some gaijins interfacing with the gaijin customers.
All right, Chris?
How many times a week do you eat hamburgers, and do you sometimes visit your competitors to see what they're up to?
Well, actually, I'm trying to diet, but having said that, it is my job. So I go to Wendy's about 3-4 times a week, and especially on the weekends. And I do eat a lot. And in terms of my competitors, it's very important to know what they're doing. So I have more than my fill of hamburgers.
And you have a competitor right down the street, Ted of Patties, right?
That's right. As a matter of fact, I had a chance to meet with Ted. He's from Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii. I know you spent a lot of time in Hawaii, Kong. And he called me up and he said, he has a store just down the street. And so I said, my kids go to his store all the time in Hawaii, actually, down by Waikiki.
Right across from the zoo.
That's right, yeah. And so we got together, we exchanged notes, and we're going to keep in touch. I can always learn something from a great operator like Ted.
Do you like his burgers?
Yes, I do. I said my kids, but also I go with them, and we really do enjoy it. It's a great hamburger.
I got to say one last thing.
Sure.
No pun intended.
Yes.
Wendy's got the best buns.
Okay.
Always did. Always did. It's true.
I will tell her.
I always wondered
and also
about
your burger buns are great too. Exactly right. No.
I always wondered about that sign that said Wendy's hot and juicy. All right, I think we're going to have to pause. We're going to have to pause right here, and then we'll be back with more. We'll be talking about movies with Don Morton and concerts with Caleb James in just a moment. First, I want to say, Mr. Ernie Higa, thank you very much for joining us here in the jPod today. Truly an honor and a pleasure to have you with us.
I don't know how many there were of you, but I have some free gift certificates.
Hi, this is Peter Lackner, Sales Director at G+ Media, the company that powers this podcast. If you have a need to reach our ever-expanding audience of listeners, readers, and subscribers with a message about your business, restaurant, or service, contact me and I'll show you how to get your message heard right here in our all-new jPod. I think you'll be surprised at how beneficial and affordable advertising can be. To know more, contact me directly by email at Lackner, Lackner, at gplusmedia.com or hit any of the inquiry forms on the Japan Today site.
Coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, this is the jPod.
All right, Mr. Higa, before we let you go, we see that you have some envelopes in your hands. What do you have there?
Well, we've been talking about hamburgers, but you can't really talk about hamburgers. You just got to eat it. So I have 20 gift certificates that I want to give to your listeners, and they can try any of our hamburgers for free.
20 gift certificates.
Right.
And what do we need to do?
I don't know if I could eat 20 hamburgers, to be honest, Ernie.
What do we need to do? What do our listeners or readers need to do in order to win?
Well, I'll leave that up to you, but
why don't we get them to send in a picture wearing that ice bra with their wind chimes blowing?
That sounds very difficult. Anyway, I'll leave that up to you guys. But anyway, it's there for your listeners, and I hope that they'll enjoy their hamburger.
That's great. We'll create a stunt for them to get the Wendy burgers, right? Wendy burgers.
Actually, we will put the complete details on the Japan Today website.
I think that's safer.
All right. 20 free burgers from Wendy's from Ernie Higa, the man who brought Wendy's back. Thank you very much, Ernie. Mahalo. Thank you. And now, the key word for your chance to win one of 20 gift certificates from Wendy's. The key word is hungry. Hungry. Hurry, hurry. Send your email to editor@japantoday.com. Editor@japantoday.com. Be one of the first 20. Be one of the first 20. And you will get the Wendy's gift certificate mailed to you absolutely free. Let's get to the movies. As I have mentioned before, portions of this podcast are being heard on 76.1 Inter FM, and this is one of those portions that is going to be heard on that radio station. So right now, let's get to our film critic. His name is Don Morton. Good afternoon, Don.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kong.
And I know you have movies that are opening and closing, movies to see, movies to miss. Where do we want to start today?
We got 7 movies opening in Tokyo this weekend, and I'm going to talk about 2 of them.
All right.
That you should see.
We should see.
Yeah, did any of you guys see that gothic TV cult favorite of the early 70s called Dark Shadows?
Oh, yeah. Dark.
The 70s, you say. I never watched TV in the 70s. I missed it. I missed the 70s for reasons. Anyway, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton have taken that whole TV show and turned it up to 11.
Oh,
it was
wow.
about a scion in 1772, the scion of a wealthy fishing family in Maine. He spurns the wrong witch, and she turns him into a vampire and then buries him forever in a coffin.
Okay.
He escapes 200 years later, which makes him wake up to discover a world of lava lamps and the carpenters in 1972. and he vows to return glory to his family, which has now been decimated by the witch, who's still around. Anyway, it's delightfully twisted as any Burton film, and offers a steady parade of sight gags and other humor that I don't think was in the TV show, but anyway. It does sag in a few places, but not for long. And as usual, Johnny Depp makes the material shine.
Now, you said that they wake up in the 70s. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there a good soundtrack that goes along with this film?
What was it? Wait.
What was it? There was a song.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is that
Dun, 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 dun. That's Caleb with a very bad impersonation of Barry White.
Oh, it's okay.
Anyway,
it's
the movie
Barry
is
White
Dark
song.
Shadows. It's kind of hard to miss. Its posters are everywhere, and for once the movie meets the hype. It's pretty good.
So the song is my first, my last, my everything.
Everything, yeah.
Okay. Can you do a Barry White voice?
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that's a little more like
that was
Elvis.
more like Elvis.
Barry Presley, yeah. When has Tim Burton not made a good movie, though, in fairness?
He has, but I have to think of it. Anyway, the other movie you ought to see.
Since when?
The other movie you ought to see this week is The Muppets. Although this is probably going to appeal more to adults, nostalgic adults rather than children. It is a Muppet. It is a puppet show, but they've kind of sunk off the radar in recent decade. And anyway, it's about a longtime fan who's dismayed to find that the Felt and Fuzz idols have disbanded and historic Muppet studios have been abandoned, and they're threatened by a developer. He vows to get the band back together and put on a show.
So I need $13,000 to the Cook County Assessor's Office by 5 o'clock Monday morning, right?
Yep, whatever he said.
Anyway, I grew up on that movie. Come on.
In time-honored tradition, this involves a lot of clever singing, including the Rainbow Connection. I think one of the best songs ever in a movie.
Sure.
And dancing and telling of self-aware jokes and several high-profile cameos that you'll probably recognize. It's a fun flick. It'll appeal more to nostalgic adults, but it will put a smile on everyone's face, and there's nothing better than that.
Okay, family film then, right?
Yeah.
Good for the family, the whole family. Date movie? Would you say it's a date movie, or how would a girl feel if you took her to see The Muppet Show?
Absolutely.
She would feel absolutely?
Absolutely. Everybody's going to like this movie.
All right.
What about... I knew you'd say that.
Is that song in this movie?
Of course.
Mana Mana?
Oh, cool. Of course.
You guys know Mana Mana?
Of course we do.
Ian, give us a little bit of Mana Mana.
Mana Mana.
Mana Mana. Very good. Thank you very much. That was well done. Caleb, what did you think of that? Was that a worthy performance? Okay. Don, getting back to Dark Shadows for a moment. Date movie, family movie, or...
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Movie for the kids?
Yeah. It's a vampire movie.
Could you rent this and bring it home and let the kids watch it?
Not tiny kids, but yeah, most.
All right.
Most kids would enjoy this movie.
All right. That's it for the movies? We have other movies opening, of course.
We do. Most of them are bad.
All right. So we won't go into those right now. We'll be back in a moment to find out about concerts that are happening here in Tokyo and throughout Japan in just a moment.
That's going to be our lead-in theme, right?
There you go, from now on. Caleb James, you're the man, musician, in demand. Do you have some concert news or music information for us?
Yes, we do. But first, I want to mention a little something. We just lost a great one a few days ago. Mr. Donald Duck Dunn, bassist for pretty much everybody. He's worked with everyone from Muddy Waters to Steely Dan.
Yeah.
He passed away right here in Tokyo just a few days ago. His last concert was at Blue Note Tokyo with the Stax Records band. It's with one of his best friends for the past 60 years, Mr. Steve Cropper.
Yeah, Steve Cropper.
Eddie Floyd.
Yeah.
For those of you folks who don't know precisely who he is, trust me, you've heard him all your life. He was the house band for the Stax Records group, which you name it, he was on it. Everything by Sam and Dave, Otis Redding.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Sitting on the dock of the bay. That's him starting the song off.
And Knock on Wood.
Knock on Wood. Hold On, I'm Coming with Sam and Dave. And of course, he's the bassist in the movie The Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
That was him.
Yeah.
He passed away right here in Tokyo. His last show was the 13th.
I had
May
a chance
13th.
to go to that show.
You saw the show?
Yeah, at the Blue Note. And although he played perfectly, he looked in really bad condition.
Yeah.
The music was just perfect. They nailed every song, and he hit every note, and it was inspirational. But when they brought him off the stage, they actually had to have several people help him get off the stage because he was kind of wheezing after the show.
Wow.
And they walked him through the crowd, and he was trying to shake hands and greet people because, you know, as you walk back to the dressing room after a performance at the Blue Note, everybody wants to meet the entertainers as they come off stage. He did his best to try to greet people, but it was obvious there was something seriously wrong.
Well, he passed away in his hotel room that night.
Yeah.
All I can say is there's two things. One, folks, as we always say, some of these artists have been doing this for a very, very long time. They really are the guys on that record.
Yeah.
Not sounds like the guy. He is the person who played on half the tunes you've been listening to your whole life. So get out and see these musicians. They're wonderful. They deserve the respect. They deserve the honor. Check these folks out and support them because they're not going to be around forever. And of course, I would like to give a big round of applause to Mr. Donald Duck Dunn because that was a hell of a job, well done for a long time.
Donald Duck Dunn, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Now, who's coming up next? We have a lot of stuff going on in town. The Japan Blues and Soul Carnival. That's going to be incredible. That's going to be on May 26th at Zepp Diver City.
Who can we expect to see at this concert?
Well, it's going to be filled with, a lot of Japanese artists and a lot of great folks there. But I think the big jewel in the crown for me is Johnny Winter.
Ooh.
Remember Johnny Winter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Edgar Winter, the Winter Brothers.
Right.
He's going to be in town.
The white-haired guys.
Yeah, the white-haired
playing
cats.
Fort Lauderdale last winter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
He's truly a blues man.
Yeah.
Crowd went nuts, Don?
It did.
All right. So he's going to be here. Who else is going to be here?
He's going to justify it. They're going to be here at Zepp Diver City Dive. I got a lot of stuff to get to. They're going to be here on the 26th and the 27th, but also the Fuji Rock Festival is coming up really soon. That's going to be on July 29th at Naiba Ski Resort.
Drop some names for us. Who's going to be coming this year?
Stone Roses, Radiohead, and I think for me, the jewel in the crown.
Who's that?
Buddy Guy.
Oh, yes. Jimi Hendrix's friend. Guitar-playing friend. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That was the reason Jimi Hendrix got started, if I remember correctly.
And
he heard Buddy Guy doing this thing and said, I want to do that.
Buddy has his own nightclub, his own blues club in Chicago, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
he's coming over for that?
And he's still taking cats to school.
Unbelievable.
He's the man. He's going to be there. And, of course, Summer Sonic is going to be coming up soon as well. That's going to be August 19th here in Tokyo. And, of course, August 20th in Osaka if you're going to be there. Same artist, basically, just changing hotel rooms.
Drop some names of some of the artists we can expect to see.
It's going to be Rihanna, New Order, and, again, the biggest ones, I think, Green Day.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite Green Day song?
Oh, gosh. Green Day. I like American Idiot. But check it out. I want to be able to remember the words to the one, do you have the time to listen to me whine?
Absolutely. I like to take a shower to Green Day.
Take a shower to Green Day?
Especially, shampoo. Just gets my head moving back and forth.
I'm going to leave that where that
I lather up to that song.
You're a very strange little puppy, Colin.
We'll be back with more important information, all kinds of information for you when we come back.
With news and comments about what's happening in Japan. This is the jPod. The jPod. The jPod.
Seems we always have celebrities coming here to Japan. Chris Petros, who can we be looking forward to seeing?
We are expecting Charlize Theron next week for Snow White and the Huntsman.
Snow White and the Huntsman?
Yeah, actually, there's 2 Snow White movies coming up. In her particular one, she's the Wicked Witch of a sort, and we're expecting her next Monday. We'll probably give you a report on that next week's podcast. We had a big week last week, of course. We had Josh Brolin, Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones for Men in Black, and Tim Burton, Johnny Depp. So that was a very big weekend, and Lady Gaga is still here, so it's been a busy month of May.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Let's take it over to another one of our very special guests this time, Ian Gibb from the Tokyo Comedy Store.
Yes, been a regular improviser with the Tokyo Comedy Store now for, getting on 8-9 years.
Say something funny.
Don Morton.
There you go.
So we're flip-flopping our formats this year. So we're switching out between theater, sports, and also our regular show, which includes Tokyo's best stand-up comedians in the first half, as well as improv in the second half. And that's our format for this month, which is the 25th, the last Friday of every month. You can catch us at the Crocodile in Shibuya on Meiji-dori. And you can check out all of our schedules at tokyocomedy.com.
And how will we recognize you in the show?
I'll be the tall, bald guy.
The tall, bald guy? You're just
Sweating
playing that part,
profusely.
right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm typecast.
And Caleb, the concert that we must see, what are you recommending?
Wow, out of all that, I think I'm going to have to go with Caleb James.
Yeah. Caleb, when's your next
Barefoot
show?
Live, acoustic.
Barefoot Live, where, when?
That's going to be on June 18th at Rakuya in Nakameguro.
And John Matthews, the story that we need to be following.
The big story that I'm following right now is the nuclear reactors being restarted. Whether or not they come back, whether or not this means that more reactors are coming back on, too soon to tell, but we'll see.
And of course, they've turned them off because
public safety, maintenance, give you 1,000 reasons.
And Don Morton, you had a great observation about that a couple of weeks ago. Even though they're turned off, they still contain...
If the Fukushima plant had all 6 reactors turned off, and a tsunami wiped out all their electrical power sources, the same thing would happen.
Same thing would happen.
I say let's bring geothermal online in Japan.
Well, then they'd have to give up their onsen.
All right.
Have to give them up?
Diagonal drilling, that's story for another time.
All right, Don Morton, the movie we must see.
The Muppets and Dark Shadows.
If you had to choose one.
I don't have to choose one.
But somebody out there has to choose one. If a girl said to you, a beautiful lady, drop dead, gorgeous woman said to you, Don, take me to the movie, I only have time to see one.
Wendy, actually.
Exactly. If Wendy said that to you, which movie would you... if Wendy was asking you to go to a movie, she wanted you to take her to a movie, which movie would you take her to see?
Sorry, I'm not going to choose.
Boy, he is the crankiest critic of all.
He's stoic.
So, you would not take Wendy to the movie. Where would you take Wendy?
McDonald's.
I'd take her to Victoria's Secret and get her one of those ice bras.
There you go. Hey, we're getting into a new area here.
Chris Petros, what do you want to keep our eye on the Japan Today website?
The details of how to win one of those great 20 gift certificates from Wendy's, and we shall have details on that on our site by the time you can listen to this podcast.
All right. Ladies, gentlemen, all of you, thank you very much once again for joining us here in the jPod, being brought to you by the Japan Today website. Caleb, you look a little confused. What's the confusion there?
Gentlemen, I get. Ladies?
Well, there are ladies behind you. There are ladies in our studio audience.
There usually are.
There are indeed. Anyway, to all of you, and to all of you who are listening to us wherever you are in the world, thank you very much. Join us again next week, same time, same place, for the Japan Today podcast, the jPod. Thank you.